Hey, welcome to Burn a Flick. I'm joined with Jonah and Zach, and this is our first video podcast. Um, I am not used to looking at the camera, so I guess
This,
I'm gonna have to look at the camera. I don't want to look at the camera.
well, you don't have to look at the
Um,
camera. We're talking to each
okay,
other.
I'm just gonna pretend the camera doesn't exist. I think that's what they tell actors to do. Not that we're acting,
They say you're supposed to look
or
over the camera.
not that I'm anything close to an actor. I just don't want to. I'm unconsciously looking at the camera now, and it's kind of annoying. Anyway, we had a slight hiatus. A lot of things were going on in our lives. Zach got married. Really good time. Really fun wedding. I did a spinny thing.
Can't wait to get those photos back and the cigars. That's gonna be fun as fuck.
And I started classes, so we've been pretty busy. Work has been ramping up. It's hard to get the boys together, but today the boys are together, and I believe the movie that we last discussed was Best in Show, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It seems like a while ago. During that podcast, at the end of it, was my choice of film, which is what we're doing today. It's called Leave No Trace, directed by Debra Granik. And I don't know if you guys know, but she also directed Winter's Bone, if any of you have seen that.
I
It's
have not.
it's the movie that put Jennifer Lawrence on the map. Came out in 2010.
Okay, now it sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I thought the movie that put her on the map was
Hunger Games?
Hunger Games.
No. Well, yeah. Hunger Games sent her into the stratosphere, but Winter's Bone put her on the map.
Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound familiar. As soon as a J Law on there, I'm like, oh yeah, I think
Yeah.
I've seen a picture of
Yeah.
of a scene.
It's about mountain people and methy people in like meth country.
So
Yeah.
she likes writing about mountain men, and
Mountain men?
living in the mountain.
I guess so. I haven't seen any of her other movies. It's only this one and Winter's Bone. I know that she also did a movie with Vera Farmiga, and that was apparently also the movie that put Vera Farmiga on the map a while ago. I didn't see that one. I don't even know the name of that one. But this movie's called Leave No Trace, and it stars Ben Foster and Thomasin McKenzie. It's a story about a father and daughter. They are living off the grid in a public park in the Pacific Northwest, and that's how the movie starts. And they are forced to move out, and it's about them trying to, I guess, figure out their situation, work through life, quote unquote. And I first saw this movie underway in my rack. And it was a group of movies that I had downloaded prior to the underway. And basically how I got to know about it was I Googled best films of 2018, because this is back in 2018. I Googled best films of 2018. And a bunch of these movies came up, and I just like went down the list. I'm like, all right, Pirate Bay. Start downloading all these titles. Don't even know what they are. I just know that they're on like the top like 100 best movies of 2018 on the Rotten Tomatoes site. And I skipped over all the ones that are labeled documentary, and just all the ones that are like actual like movies, quote unquote, with like a narrative and whatnot. So I downloaded those. This was one of them. And somewhere in the underway, after watch, after like my off going, I went to bed and I put this on, and I'm just lying in my rack watching this movie, and it made me feel it the movie hits different. It's not what I expect. I didn't expect anything because I had no idea what it was. But I think it left a impression on me. I didn't watch it again for many years. The second time I watched it was watching it for this, and I actually watched it a third time. I watched it again last night. But the reason why I picked this was I distinctly remember a scene where Thomas and Mackenzie's character, her name is actually Tom.
Yeah.
In
I noticed that at the end too.
yeah,
Yeah.
where Tom is confronting, or her Tom's dad is confronting her because she came home late. Because she was like hanging out with this kid who had
The
like
farm kid.
the
Yeah.
farm kid with bunnies.
Yeah, the FFA kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ben Foster's character, the dad, is just like sitting in the living room, like grumpy, like all angry that his daughter came home late, just sitting there silently. And then she walks in, and then it's this really, I guess, like quote unquote dramatic scene, but they don't like play up the drama. They never really play up the drama in this movie
No.
in any way whatsoever. But that scene specifically was seared in my memory because of how Thomas and Mackenzie said, like, what if the kids at school think I'm weird? And then I distinctly remember Ben Foster's character saying, and why does their opinion matter to you? Or like he says something along the lines of like, and you care about their opinion or something like that.
Yeah.
And then her reply is like, well, I guess I'll find out. And she says it in a way that's like really sad.
Hmm.
And I just felt so much was going on in that short exchange. And I don't know why that's always stayed with me. And I saw it again recently, and it still had that same effect on me. It's kind of like that effect of the dad just can't relate to the daughter, and the daughter is clearly growing up into her own person, and the dad is not really able to keep up. And obviously, he has his own demons that he struggles with. But yeah, that's I think that's part of the reason why I picked this movie.
You can't get past himself.
Yeah, yeah,
So again, the movie is based on he has PTSD.
he
correct?
definitely has PTSD.
And well, yeah, this is 100%. He has PTSD, and he realizes he has to get away from everything to stay better, because
Yeah.
being around so many things, it triggers his mental issue, issue.
Yeah, it triggers his PTSD. I didn't pick up on it the first time. I don't even think I picked up on it the second time. Watching it the third time yesterday, I realized that it has something to do with helicopters. Because the first time he like wakes up in cold sweat in the camp, you can hear like he's having a dream about like helicopters, and then he just wakes up and it's silent. And then later on, when he's working for this farmer who owns like a pine tree, evergreen, Christmas tree business, there are helicopters overhead, carrying like all these trees from one area to another area. And he is, he's one of the workers who works the trees, but he hears this helicopter and he just kind of like, he shuts down. I didn't really pick up on it.
Oh, that's when he put his hands around his knees and just
Yeah,
started
and like
breathing.
put his head down, put his hands on his head, like he was all like he was shutting down. And that's part of the reason why he wanted to leave. But yeah, he is definitely suffering some sort of massive trauma of his time in the service, and yeah, the movie doesn't really think it's important to specify. There's no flashback to like a combat scene.
Do you think they is written and acted in a way for you to pretty much understand that's what's going on, or do you think they want to leave it up for interpretation?
I think they don't leave a lot up to interpretation. I think that was your Bluetooth speaker.
It was.
Yeah. So I I think the movie wants you to know that Ben Foster's character is
Wow.
oh, what's going on there?
Yeah.
Oh, let's figure that out. It's talking to us.
It is. Thanks for
The voice from beyond.
It's them pretty much trying to tell us that
Yeah.
It's not overinterpretation. It's not.
I mean, I think you could play with like what specifically went down and like in his service. You could come up with all sorts of theories or ideas,
Mhm.
but at the end of the day, he has PTSD from his service, and that's kind of all that matters. Like, to what extent do we need to know the details?
I don't think you need a action sequence and
No.
his buddies getting torn up in the background and all this other crazy crazy things that are giving him PTSD that might even trigger someone's PTSD watching the movie.
It's very true, actually.
Yeah.
So how long do you think they were living off the grid? Do you think from her birth, because she obviously has a
Yeah.
mother? Do you think there's something about a mother that could
I
affect things as well?
I'm not sure. I know they briefly mention her, like super briefly. Like I think she asks, like what was like I don't remember mom and or my mother, and she was like, what was my mother's favorite color? And then so that conversation actually starts with like, what's your favorite color? And then he doesn't respond. I don't think he ever responded to that. And then she says her favorite color is yellow. And then she asks him, what was my mother's favorite color? And he was like, yellow. But yeah, they don't really spend too much time on the mother. Um, I don't know what effect that could have had on like them living off the grid. I'm sure no mother wants their child to live off the grid, and
Unless if said mother wanted to live off the grid.
I don't think so. I think living off the grid is mostly the dad thing.
Hmm.
M.
Yeah.
M. Night Shyamalan plot twist: the mother is the reason why he lived off the grid, because she wanted to all this time.
M. Night Shyamalan twist. They're actually in a simulation.
And yeah. But she also died in a helicopter.
This is actually a prequel to Predator, and
But which Predator? Like the Adrian Brody one?
well,
Or-
yeah, it's set in modern times, so it's
That's
a
true.
prequel to Adrian Brody's Predator, and Tom is actually Adrian Brody's mom, and that's how he's able to survive out in the wild so much, because he learned from his mom, who learned from her dad how to live out in the wild. So when Adrian Brody gets dropped in this predator jungle, he knows how to survive,
Exactly.
and that's why he wins.
Thank you for listening to Burner Flake. We're done here. We figured out
Yeah.
the answer.
Just to be clear, we're talking predators,
Hmm.
plural.
Yeah, not Predator. Because that's
Predator,
Arnold
yeah.
Schwarzenegger.
Completely different movie.
I'm glad they didn't have to spoon feed that in the movie for us to get that. We got that on our own.
we naturally arrived at that conclusion.
I'm smart.
Yeah. Obviously, like I love this movie. I think I like it a lot more now that I picked up on a lot of the small cues. Watching it the second and third time around. I knew the first time I watched it, this was something special, because like this movie, like it feels like a film. Like it doesn't feel fake, right?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It
Like
actually
too Hollywooded up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it seems like something that, while it's not super far fetched, because a lot of people, I'm sure, do this.
I don't think any of it is far fetched.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm pretty. I'm not 100% sure, but I have 100% sure thought that
Yeah.
there are people who do this.
Yes.
Maybe not under the same circumstances, but people do this.
Mhm.
And then dramatics behind it are legitimate. You know, she gets. The movie takes a turn from the beginning in the first 20 minutes, because she gets spotted from a runner in the hills.
Yeah. Which isn't even clear. Like you're
Mhm.
not even sure. Like, did he see her? Did he not see her? Like he's
Yeah,
calling
right.
out, so he must have seen something. Like what's going on?
Because then he just runs away like normal.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
just hey, let's go back on a jog.
Mhm.
And maybe he could have just in passing by, like, hey, I saw some people out there. It looked
Yeah.
like they were I saw some tents or whatever.
When this movie first opened, what were your guys' initial thoughts?
So like Leave No Trace, I think the title
Yeah.
in itself is like, okay, maybe they're running from something, or it's like kind of like end of the world scenario. They're running from
Okay.
some thing, something.
Someone's chasing them.
Yeah, someone's chasing
Yeah.
them,
Alright.
and
Oh yeah.
they're out to survive. But yeah, obviously didn't turn out to be that way.
Yeah.
And I think for the most part it was the father that was like out to survive
Mhm.
for what he had going on.
Yeah.
The I mean, I'm with you on the same thing there, because when you think of Leave No Trace,
Yeah.
it sounds like an '80s action film like name. It does. Leave No Trace.
That
Or
is funny, yeah.
Or what was that one Arnold Schwarzenegger movie about? Oh my God, The Eraser or something like that. Leave No Trace, The Eraser. I don't know. It's just I didn't expect it to be like this either.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, I'm saying like in the opening scene, because
Oh.
like, so when I first watched the opening scene, I was like, oh, they're camping. That's what I thought.
Mm.
And then I can't exactly remember like what my response was the first time I watched it, but the second time I watched, because the first time I watched it was like back in 2018. I don't exactly remember. But the second time I watched it, which was about 2 weeks ago, uh, I'm like watching this and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember like when this first showed, I thought they were camping, and actually, Leave No Trace is I think it's a Boy Scout philosophy or like a camping philosophy or something like that. It's the idea that when you go outdoors and you camp and you like set up like tents and campfires and such, when you leave, you're supposed to quote unquote leave no trace. And that's like a environmental camp courtesy, like nature respectful philosophy. That leave no trace is an actual philosophy that campers and Boy Scouters are all about. So when the movie opens and like they're obviously out in nature and like camping and such, I'm like, oh, okay, they're camping. But then and then you get to see like little bits of like their camp life. They're like cutting the wood in such a way to like make them like splayed out to be better at kindling. I'm like, okay, that's neat. And then they're like collecting mushrooms and there's this one moment where she has all these mushrooms in a pan, and the father, Ben Foster's character, he's trying to start a fire with kindling, and then she's like, Dad, it's damp. Basically saying like, you're not going to be able to start a fire. It's too damp right now. And then she says, let's use the stove, or like, let's use the gas. And then he says, he says something along the lines of, no, we need to save it. And then I'm like, what's going on? I thought they're camping. And then I realized, oh, this is like a long-term camping thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then she says, this thing made me realize it's something completely different. And then she says, I'm hungry. And she says it in a way that's like, I need sustenance. Like, it's not like, oh, I am inconveniently hungry.
Mm-hmm.
It's, I need to eat because I'm a human being and I require food. Like, she says it like that. And and that's when I realized that, oh my God, they're in a bad, shitty situation where they're living. This is not a fun camp out adventure. This is where they live.
This is their everyday life. This
Yeah.
is the struggle of
Yeah.
cavemen.
And then like they run drills and stuff of like what to do if they're caught or whatever, and he says like, oh, you're burned, your tracks burned you, or like your socks burned you. And I just began to realize that like this is their shitty but it's not shitty though. It's shitty from my perspective. But I'm like watching Thomas and Mackenzie and Ben Foster, and they seem perfectly content in living this style of life, and they don't seem to be in pain or in any sort of like immediate danger, or they don't seem to be weary. Ben Foster, I mean, except for that one scene where he wakes up at night because of the helicopter nightmare, they seem like they're getting along just fine, and they have like very robust systems where they have a rain catcher, like they are setting up this solar heating thing. They were setting that up for a bit. Like they're setting up all this stuff, and they seem to know what they're doing, and they seem rather happy. Like they like play chess and stuff. Um,
Yeah, because he's actually like he was teaching her how to play chess. Like, is it okay if I put my pawn in front of my king? It's like as long as you castle,
yeah, yeah,
and because he knows how to play, it seems like he knows what to do. He's
yeah.
something he can just do anywhere, right?
Yep,
So it seems like they've been doing it for a long time, though.
a long time. Yeah.
Going back to the like towards the beginning of the movie,
Mhm.
what I think that was maybe 15, 20 minutes in,
Yeah.
and then they go into town for the first time.
Yeah.
Was that jarring for you guys?
A little bit, yeah.
That was incredibly jarring for me. I think just because like you said, it was like, oh, they're camping. Oh wait, no, they're not camping. They're actually out there.
They're in
And,
town. They're
yeah.
just-
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they go into town and I'm like, oh my gosh. Whoa. And I could tell that it was pretty jarring for them as well.
The sound design of when they go into town, I think it's trying to give off that feeling that the urban sounds are, like you said, jarring.
Hmm.
Traffic, the sound of like metal, the sound of like crowds, compared to how peaceful nature is. But another thing that that I picked up on, or that I felt it was interesting, about them going into town,
Hmm.
is that they just like go into town like it's nothing. So I think when I realized that they were in this permanent living situation out in the camp, I think a part of me was like, oh, they're like hardcore nature people. Like, this is how they live. And then they just go into town like it's no big deal. I'm like, oh, they're not hardcore nature people. They are perfectly fine with shopping at a shopping market, and they have no problem. So like, what's going on here? Um, and I mean, this is all stuff that I'm thinking as I'm watching it.
Hmm.
Um, and I thought that was another way that the movie like quietly crushes my, because it's really annoying when you can predict things,
Hmm.
and that's another, like, I guess, way in which this movie was like, when I was trying to predict the direction of this movie, the movie's like, actually no, we're doing this. And I always appreciate that when I can't predict something in a movie.
So we can go further. Well, I agree with you. I like you said. I also appreciate when you're something you can't tell is going to happen,
Yeah.
or you can't you think there's a certain feeling you're supposed to feel, but you feel something different,
Uh-huh.
right? Like how you said like how you felt with their dramatic when she came back to the house later
Mhm.
than she's supposed to, because she said that before even he even said it. He said nothing. He said, "I'm sorry I came back late. It just happened.
Yeah, yeah.
If I had a phone, I would be able to maybe call you."
Right. Oh, and then he said,
Mhm.
we've always been able to
Able to
communicate
communicate
without that.
without
Yeah.
that.
Phones are bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like the thing they do because they do the
Yeah.
right? They
Mhm.
do to mimic the sound of nature itself
Mm-hmm.
to be able to communicate because they
A
can hear that
quiet way to just like
Hey,
check in with each
we're
other.
near each other.
Yeah.
I think that's the way that that's how they're able to communicate,
Mhm.
either when they're near each other or hey, I'm around, I'm
Yeah.
coming.
This is a super, and th- I want to say it's a very healthy father-daughter relationship. There is mutual respect between father and daughter, and there's like very obvious like love and affection between father and daughter. And I I even want to say like this is a very, like, there's nothing toxic about the relationship. However, there is something tragic about the relationship in that, like, it's very clear that Tom is an intelligent, like, curious, uh at the same time that she's innocent, she is also wise, and at the same time she's strong, she's also kind of vulnerable because
Mhm.
she's a kid.
Yeah.
And I think, like, on an acting level, to bring all that out in just your eyes or your face or the way you move, because let's be honest, there's not a lot of dialogue in this movie. This movie is not dialogue heavy.
Mm-mm.
Right.
There's a lot going on with like looks and like how they like move their bodies and how they look away or look at each other. and she's really, really good.
Hmm.
Ben Foster is really, really good. I think like 30% of his acting here is his facial hair. Um, but everyone's really good. And where was I going with this? I don't know where I'm going with this.
Well, you're going with like
Yeah.
how she was, very strong but vulnerable
Yeah,
in her own
yeah.
way, and like you're saying, like just like she's vulnerable for what she doesn't know, but
Yeah.
she's very brave and strong and tough for what she does know, which is the woods, the
Yeah.
outside. She has no issues. She can do it all. She can cook.
Yeah.
She can create. She can create fire, even when she's dying of hypothermia. She's able to try and whittle to create,
Yeah.
but we'll get to that.
Um where I was going with that was that this is a tragic relationship
Yeah.
because Tom clearly needs to be a part of society.
Hmm.
She is a growing person, growing into her own person, maturing into her own person. And human beings, whether we like it or not, we thrive when we are a part of a group because we're social creatures.
Hmm.
And like naturally, she wants to be a part of a group. She wants to check out the Rabbit Club. Like she wants to be a part of these trailer people who play guitar in circles and stuff. Like she wants to be a part of something. She's very clearly a an intelligent young woman who needs to grow relationally.
Hmm.
And Ben Foster just can't provide that.
But
And he knows he can't provide that. And that's where that I and that's such an interesting conflict. And cuz when you think about it, what is the underlying conflict of this movie? Cuz there's no villain, right? And there's no like no one's trying to run from their past or like no one's trying to like right a wrong.
just trying to live their lives.
You have two people who are growing in different really you just have one person who's growing in a different direction from where she started.
Hmm.
Um
But you know how
yeah.
you talked about, she wants to be social. She needs to be human beings require that
Yeah.
in a, evolutionary sense. Well, you didn't exactly that's what you meant, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Not the evolutionary, but whatever.
In the
So
deep sense, yeah.
who put that into perspective was the social worker.
Okay.
The social worker even said to them in the middle of the movie when they
Mhm.
were at the ranch, like she needs to go to school
Yeah.
because she's very smart and she can provide for herself and do really
Yeah.
well. But
And
what she
she's
needs to be is social.
yeah.
She needs to socialize.
Mhm.
She mentioned that the social worker. I I guess I can go to the part in the movie itself. I guess when they left that ranch,
Yeah.
that was it. I thought that there would be more. There people would be looking for them. There'd be a secondary storyline
Oh,
of
yeah.
them looking for them. But I guess I was wrong there. But
Mm.
yeah, back to the socializing thing.
I really like when you brought up the social worker because the the social workers slash like government entities slash police in this story, they're not bad people.
Mm-mm.
They it like you can tell that like these are good people who are trying to do right in their jobs and they're trying to do right by Tom and Ben Foster's character.
You have anything that'll hurt me? Just a knife.
Yeah, yeah.
And anyone else here with you? Just my daughter. I thought he was going to keep it a secret and she had to go
Yeah.
find him or something like that. But he's like, no, she's here with
Yeah.
me.
It makes perfect sense though. In like a real life situation, you're not gonna leave your daughter. Like,
Of course not, because it's not like I'm going to leave my daughter at my house.
yeah, exactly.
I'm being arrested. Hey, no, my daughter's here. She needs to come with her or something like that.
Yeah.
Nobody to watch her.
Uh-huh. And the police officer, like he even says like, we don't know who you are. We just need to know what's going on,
Yeah.
which is very reasonable. And like, and it's not as if like the evil government is like taking them away from like a nature, like a natural heaven or like a nature utopia. That because they're living on public land, which is you're not allowed to do that. So they're just regular people trying to be good in their regular lives, which I highly respect, and I think that adds another layer of realism to this because this is one thing I didn't like about Joker. That entire movie in Joker, that entire world in Joker is comically evil and comically cruel to the point of me going like, this is not realistic. Like it I don't think overly mean people and overly cruel situations, I don't think that translates to realism at all. Because in this movie, there's hardly any cruelty. Most of the regular people in this movie are regular good people.
Yeah, he moved. The state moves him to this work ranch, I guess,
Yeah.
whatever it is,
Which is not a bad situation.
with no dime to them too.
Yeah.
He just has to work there.
Yeah.
What's funny is like he didn't want to go there. They're making him go there, but they're also making him work there, or he goes to jail.
No, the owner of the ranch of the pine
The Evergreen Pines.
yeah,
Christmas
pine
tree,
Christmas
whatever.
tree business. He offered the house to them because he was a veteran.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. And he mentions that he read about them in the paper as well.
Yeah.
So, that guy's just another good guy. He did ask them to go to church with them, and I didn't. That church scene. I don't know how many times you've been to church. Are you Catholic? Or did you grow up Catholic?
I grew up everything. I don't really,
know.
I'm not religious.
I grew up Protestant. I went to a Presbyterian church for a while, and that scene where you're just like watching the pastor speak, and like they people come out and do like a worship dance, like that's something very familiar to me, because like I have been witness to that, and like I am very familiar to that church scene, and it didn't seem overly churchy. It didn't seem like they were bashing the church. It was just like, hey, this is a part of a thing that these people do, and we're gonna show it to you. And another thing I want to bring up is all the quote unquote actors in this movie. I think most of them aren't actors. I know that the director says that she uses regular people in her work. If you go on like Wiki, like the cast is like 8 people. So like all these little extra people, they're probably not even actors. They're probably just actual people who that guy probably actually owns a Christmas tree farm.
Oh yeah.
And like the beekeeper lady, that beekeeper lady is probably a beekeeper later.
The beekeeper lady. You talking about the? Oh no.
Near the end.
Oh
At
yeah.
the trailer park.
I was thinking of the woman who leaves the food out for the random guy in the woods. She's an actress.
She's an.
I've seen her before.
She was in Winter's Bone, actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
funny. She's.
I don't know what else she was in, but
I've seen her in other stuff before. I was
I
trying.
don't know her name.
I don't
She's
know her-
really good though.
She's actually played in a comedy before.
Oh, really?
I feel like she was
I've
in.
seen her before.
I feel like she was in My Name Is Earl.
I think so too. I'm looking it up now. Sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah, I appreciated that little church scene.
That church band was good in it.
Yeah.
I've definitely been to some churches where like
Yeah.
some of them are more traditional, just like normal hymns, and then some of them have like mega church bands
Yeah.
and are
I was in a
Um,
church band.
nice, dude.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
A lot of the characters in this movie, their names, the characters' names are the
Are
names
there-
of the real. Like
Yeah.
the woman we're talking about, her name is Dale Dickey.
Her name was Dale.
Her name is
Yeah.
Dale Dickey.
Okay.
And then there's Isaiah Stone. He was the boy with the rabbit. His name is Isaiah.
Oh,
That
that guy's probably a farmer somewhere
he
now.
probably is a farmer. He's like, hey, you know what? I like that song. Be a farmer.
Um,
The knight just called me, by the way.
what else do I want to say? There are a lot of small things in this movie that I just really appreciate. The truck driver.
Yeah, that was a good. I thought they were
That
going
guy-
to go differently. I thought that was going to go a different way.
Oh, really?
I thought he would have been more aggressive.
Okay.
You know, I thought he would have been more questioning and be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
yeah, are you in any danger?" Okay, that's an understandable question.
Yeah.
For a reasonable man to ask.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even
You got a young girl traveling with like this disheveled looking guy.
I'd also feel safer being in that truck because he asked that question.
Yeah, exactly. And he said, I just want to know I'm doing the right thing.
Right before they go inside the.
Yeah. I just need to know I'm doing the right thing. And that is a very like it gives you the warm and fuzzy that this guy's a good guy and he's
gonna,
not trying to be he's not about being a part of something shady.
Mhm.
yeah.
And he wants to like cover all his bases and he wants to know that this girl is safe.
Yeah.
And that's just another thing about how this movie is filled with random regular people who are, you know,
Have good intentions.
Yeah,
good
it's not a movie that
intentions.
keeps you like keep your biting your nails and like, oh
Yeah.
my god, are they gonna get caught again? He's gonna lose his daughter.
Yeah.
Are they gonna abduct him or something like that? No, it's not one of those like it's not supposed to be an action packed thing. It's just supposed to be a
Yeah.
what would be the word to describe it? It
Describe this.
Yeah. What do you think?
I-
One word can you describe this movie?
I think it's a realistic family drama.
Yeah.
That's what I would call it. And even drama seems too dramatic. but
Because it really
no,
wasn't that
well,
dramatic.
no. I think there is a lot of drama. A lot of drama happening underneath the surface. A lot of under the skin drama.
Mm.
Cuz clear like with Tom, with Ben, I don't even know what Ben Foster's character, what his name is. What's his name? Is it just the dad?
No, he had a name. His name is Will.
Will. Okay, yeah, Will. I think Will. One of Will's greatest scenes is when he's getting interrogated. I don't even want to say interrogated. Just
He
like
was.
questioned. He was answering the questions. He had the headphones on.
156 questions.
Yeah, yeah.
3 seconds.
Another thing is the guy that was proctoring that test. Like he basically was like, "Hey, we have with over 300, 400 questions, and you got to answer this, true or false. If you wait too long, then like you don't want it to count against you and stuff like that." And then it cuts back to Tom, and then she's doing her thing, and then it cuts back to Will, and Will, he gave up, like he shut down, like he doesn't even have the headphones on, and you can hear like the audio of the headphones playing, and the questions keep going and going.
I did notice that because
Yeah.
she was being questioned by the social workers. Like,
Oh, yeah.
are they asking my dad? Are you guys doing this to my dad? And it cuts to him
Yeah,
going through it, messing up the answers, even though he's trying to answer.
yeah,
But he remember like the 3 seconds were up, and then he answered false,
yeah, yeah.
and he answered false, and he just
The
he realized that-
questions that are in that test are very like
they're open. They're open ended.
well, no, because one of them was like, do you feel like there's joy in your, it was like these crazy like depressive
When you
questions.
feel happiness or
He,
any
Yeah.
sort of joy.
I don't know who he was talking to, if it was a social worker or a psychologist or a psychiatrist. I know for like mental health like that, if
Yeah.
you're going to get an exam or evaluation, you have to take like preliminary like little questionnaires.
Okay.
And some of the questions get pretty wild, or like they like some of them are
Yeah.
they seem like pretty outlandish, like, oh, why would they be asking you this? But yeah, I mean, I bet he was going through a lot for a long time,
Yeah.
and those questions were really hard for him to answer within the 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, like how he may not even think about those things. He may not even actually think about those things.
Yeah, they're pretty
because-
probing questions.
They are.
I think one of them was like, do you wake up with a sense of purpose, or do you wake up purpose, or something like that? And like, how do you answer that? And
He's
like,
probably so far removed that he doesn't think about that, because a lot of those things are social
exactly. Yeah.
social like feelings, and if he hasn't been social, the only thing he it's not even like he actually he loves his daughter, but
Yeah.
he doesn't even say, like, he doesn't say that, right? He doesn't act, he shows it
Yeah.
just by being, he's not even being your
I-
stereotypical father.
I
He's just
I
being a
agree.
caretaker.
I agree, but I disagree, because I think he might not say the words "I love you" to his daughter often, but he clearly communicates
Yes.
"I love you" to his daughter in various ways. And
Oh, like
and-
like the time that she
yeah,
she is freezing. She's like, I can't keep going. I can't
Yeah.
keep going. I need to sit. But then he's like, okay, wait a second.
Yeah.
We got to stop here. He creates a shelter for her.
Yeah.
She's trying to whittle things. He's like, no, leave the knife, drop the knife.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be doing this. That's another way. He cares,
Mhm.
right?
Um, back to the questionnaire thing. After he shuts down and gives up, what I really appreciated was the proctor comes in and then like he talks to him. He's like, "Are you proud of your daughter?" And then he immediately is like, "Yes." And then he's the proctor says to him, "You did a good job raising her." So like that, I really appreciated that the proctor he brought him back with that question.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like that question is part of the exam. It's not. The proctor clearly decided that he needed to give this guy a break, bring him back. The computer's not working. I'm gonna ask him about his daughter to make him remember why he's doing this, and then we'll finish the test with a paper and pen, and I'll ask him like one-on-one, face-to-face, human being to human being.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely didn't pick up on it on the first time I watched it. I did not pick up on it the second time. The third time I watched it, I'm like, oh, this Proctor guy is actually he's a real one.
Like like you said, everybody who they interacted with was not trying to break them down.
Yeah,
Trying to be nice the entire time, but like also trying to make them assimilate to
hmm
the status quo of what the world is.
yeah.
I guess, right?
That said, I know that I'm big on like the the regular people in this movie being like nice and kind or whatever. The world doesn't feel like a fake happy world. The world still feels hard
Mm-hmm.
in this movie. The world still feels like there's suffering, people are struggling, and that's another thing that grounds this movie.
Yeah, I think it feels real.
Yeah,
I think it's not like you said before. It's not what do you call it? Like you know how like the Joker's just like everything is against him.
yeah,
But I mean, this world is real, and the fact that these are situations that everyday people can find themselves in,
hmm
and nothing's like over the top.
He believes in he still believes in having manners. He believes in being a good person.
yeah,
Like the part where it's like, hey, um, I bought this place to stay in. He's
Oh,
like,
yeah, yeah.
that's the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then she says, no, I rented it to live here
Long term, yeah,
long term. Because he's like, oh yeah, doing the right thing is important to him. He
Yes.
still, just because he might be far off doesn't mean he doesn't know that, hey, people are kind to us.
yeah,
He's not getting angry that these people are sending him to home. He's grateful.
yeah.
He's thankful they're doing that, but it's not what he wants.
Mm.
But he's not going to say no. He says, I appreciate everything that's going on for them. I'm assuming it's not showing it. He would have left a note for them saying thank you, possibly. Who knows? That's something, it seems like something he would have done.
I could believe that. Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So yeah, he doesn't, he's not far off from his own emotional, actual feelings.
yeah. He's not a mountain man.
No, he obviously showed like, hey, he's gone to, or eventually he does. I think there was that weird symbolism before, not symbolism in a way. I think we're going past it really at the end where Dale,
Yeah.
said, "Oh, let's leave that here. This food, it was dried carrots,
yeah,
right? Leave these dried carrots here because, or fill his bag up." Because he leaves it down in the step. She talked about a guy who left the mountain a long time ago. She hadn't
Yeah.
seen, but she know he's still around because every single
'Cause he
time
takes the
takes the
food.
food,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
which was obviously a little bit of a foreshadowing for the end of the movie too.
yeah, yeah. Because Tom ends up doing the same thing for
Because he doesn't want to leave his
her
daughter
dad.
too.
yeah.
He wants to still be near her, but he can't live the
And
way she wants to.
The way their farewell, and what Tom says at their farewell, I think is really it really gets to the core of Will's character
Mhm.
in that she says, I know you would stay if you could." So like she knows that he loves her. She knows that he has no desire to leave her, and he's only leaving because that's the only thing he can do because of his trauma, because of his PTSD. And he's not in any power to fight that.
Mm-hmm.
And she understands and respects that and still loves him. And like all that in one sentence, I know you would stay if you could.
I felt that too.
Yeah.
Mm.
The way Thomas and Mackenzie's also when she speaks, very soft
Yeah.
and very. It sounds like I'm not saying it sounds like she's crying, but it does sound like she's sad in everything she speaks. But
Yeah.
it's very soft and very sweetly said.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Um,
There's like a twinge of like innocence with the way she speaks.
and I think that's just the way she acts too.
Yeah.
Because I've seen her in
Yeah,
Last Night in Soho.
I've also seen that.
She's essentially playing the same character, only more sociable.
Yeah, and
It's like this is her. She went to England after
She went to
after
England.
Northeast America.
This
or
is the
Canada.
Leave No Trace cinematic universe.
I have a feeling this movie. It was obvious. I have a feeling that it was based in Washington. I better go back and see Washington place
It's-
possibly.
I can
And then they
believe
end up
that,
going
yeah.
to Canada. I assume they went to Canada.
I think it's Oregon because when
went
they were
south.
in the
They're trying to go
bus
north.
Yeah, I think they went to Portland.
when they were in the bus,
Wait, really?
I think so.
the bus stop intercom announcer said, and the last stop is University of Oregon.
Oh, right. You're dumb.
So yeah,
Duh, you're right.
I mean Oregon, Washington, it's Pacific Northwest, so
Same, but different.
same but different.
Interesting area too. Never been there.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like Ben Foster, like I don't really know what else he's done.
I've seen him. That's the thing.
I know his name.
He was. You know what
And-
movie I do remember him in?
What?
And where he was younger. He was in the X-Men Origins Wolverine.
What?
He was the guy who can turn on the lights and move. He's
What
a
the heck?
telepath. Let's see what movie.
Oh.
I'll show you. He was in.
Yeah.
He was in Hustle, the new one you haven't seen.
Okay, I still have to see that. Adam
Yeah.
Sandler basketball hustle.
You're like my choice today.
Okay.
He was in Pandorum.
I've seen Pandorum.
Pandorum
He
was-
was in Pandorum.
Pandorum.
I liked Pandorum.
There was something about it. There was, it was.
I watched Pandorum on one of those free watchmovie.org sites back when Pandorum came out.
I got Pandorum from somebody underway, and I watched underway.
Nice. It's
I remember seeing when I was I
Yeah.
was younger, a kid, seeing the trailers for it on TV
uh-huh.
when movie trailers were on television still, and then all you hear is Pandorum.
Have you seen Pandorum?
No,
Do you know what it is?
I don't.
It's
Um,
a sci-fi horror movie. It's kind of like Alien and Event Horizon
mixed together.
mixed together. Have you seen Event Horizon?
No.
I know you're not a big horror guy. So
Yeah,
basically, Ben Foster's character ends up on this spaceship. In the spaceship, there's some creepy stuff going on in the spaceship, and they're in space.
He was in
It's- yeah.
30 Days of Night,
That's the vampire
the
movie.
vampire movie.
I've seen that.
He hasn't
Oh, I made the mistake of watching that.
yeah. I mean, he's not like out there.
Yeah.
I've seen him in things. Is what I'm
He
saying.
doesn't really carry. No knock against Ben Foster. He's great, but he's not a star power name.
Mm.
I think most of the things I've seen him in, I didn't even recognize him, to be honest.
So it looks like he wasn't in the X-Men movie I thought, but he was in X-Men: The Last Stand allegedly
The heck? All right.
in 2006.
Did he play the kid with wings?
Angel.
Angel?
Archangel.
Archangel?
I think it's just Angel, or is it Archangel?
I don't know.
I think he becomes Archangel.
He levels up. He levels up to Archangel.
Yeah, he evolves.
Warren Worthington. Yeah, he plays Warren Worthington.
I don't know who that is.
Warren
which is-
Worthington.
I'm pretty sure the Angel.
Oh, okay. Angel. I thought Angel was. Oh no, I'm thinking of Iceman. Never mind. Thinking of Iceman.
That's
Yep,
Top Gun.
It is Angel, and later it was originally known as Angel, and later as Archangel.
Ah, so he does level up. Okay. But yeah, Ben Foster, really good in this movie. First time I watched this movie, I felt as if he didn't really give me much to work with. I felt like most of the movie's emotional weight was carried on the shoulders of Thompson McKenzie. Yeah. But second and third viewing, I picked up on a lot more of the stuff that Ben Foster's character was doing, and I was able to appreciate it a lot more. The way he delivers his lines, there's definitely like a sadness to it, and like a solemnness, but he doesn't seem like lost in his sadness. He doesn't seem overwhelmed by like his PTSD. Like he's a functioning man. He knows how to do things. He knows when to stop and take care of his daughter. He knows that his daughter is the most important thing in his entire life. He'll like he'll do whatever it takes to make her safe. And yeah, so like yes, he doesn't do much. Like I guess physically he doesn't do much in terms of like dialogue, but he is able to carry so much with so little.
Mhm.
Yeah, and they're just really they're really good. They're a really good father daughter combo.
It did seem
Yeah,
natural.
yeah.
But their chemistry was good there.
I didn't doubt a second of it. I didn't doubt a second of anybody in
Mhm.
this movie. I just felt like I was watching people.
Do you think when like
Yeah.
people play characters that have the same name as the actual actor, do you think that helps with like their dramatics? Do you think it helps when people speak to them, they have better responses because they can respond naturally
I
to the
think
name?
so. I would assume so. I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about acting.
Right.
I would assume so. I mean, if you're gonna be called, Zach in your role, it'd be a lot easier for you to be like, "Hey, Zach,
Yeah,
Zach."
because they can. Yeah, exactly. They can also like, hey, say if you're acting, you're yelling at me like in a dramatic role, Zach.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? No, and then it's more dramatic that way.
Mhm.
I don't know. That's my. It was a weird thought process I was having because we're talking about Tom Thompson.
Chloe Zhao is also known to do that. She employs a lot of people, and their characters' names are the actors' names. Obviously, she didn't do it in Eternals. Eternals doesn't count.
Did she do that in Nomadland? I still haven't seen it.
She did it in Nomadland. She did it in The Rider. The Rider, Nomadland is just incredibly depressing.
That's why I've been wanting to watch it.
Nomadland
It's good, but
is
depressing.
insanely depressing,
I
and
just want to watch it, but I need.
just
I think
don't.
I'm waiting for this.
I just don't
I-
see hope in that movie. Like I watched that movie and I'm like, the world is fucked.
It's
Like
she's fucking kill
the
me.
middle class is gonna die.
Yeah.
Like Amazon's gonna take over everything.
They are.
The writer, however, is I think it ends on a more positive note. I don't know if any of you guys have seen The Rider.
No.
The Rider is it takes place in South Dakota, I believe. South Dakota, and it's about this bull rider or horse rider. He rides like crazy bucks or whatever, and like that's his thing. He suffers a head injury during one of his riding incidents, and then the movie is about him trying to regain a sense of his life back after the head injury, and the main character, his name is his name in real life, I think, and the main character's sister, is also like she also has her name, and they're actually sisters. She's actually the sister, and yeah. If you haven't seen The Rider, I recommend it. Like it's the movie that put Chloe Zhao on the map. It's the movie that put Chloe Zhao in Marvel's fucking
Crosshairs.
Yes. And then Marvel was like, we're gonna plop you up from your indie comfort and we're gonna drop you in multi-billion-dollar Marvel, and hopefully you make something good.
Don't mess it up.
And
Months later, oh, she messed it up.
I don't think it's so much she messed it up. I think like when they do that, when these big giant studios pluck these aspiring young auteur indie directors,
Yeah.
and they expect them to pump out a Marvel product, and then they pump out something that's not Marvel product, and they're like, no, we need you to change things. We need you to make it more Marvel, add more jokes, like make it funny, make it sleek, make it like
More
hip.
jokes, more cameos, more.
Bring back Joss Whedon.
And then the Marvel producers inject their Marvelness into this like indie director's like work, and then you get a monster that comes out. You get like it's half indie, half Marvel, all ugly. and like it's just not good.
That makes sense, though. I mean, I'm not saying that she went out of her way to put her own taste into it and mess it up because there was no.
It's she's the director. Like
Well, yeah, you're right. Like, because a person who sees Marvel movies, they're all following the same formula in a way.
yeah,
And she wants to. She goes her own way because she was given the, like, you're gonna do what you do. That's what they told
Yeah.
her. Do what you do.
that's
she did what she
probably
did,
how
it does.
they reel them in. They're like, we're gonna give you full creative control, and they're like, are you sure? It's like, yeah, we're gonna give you full creative control, and we're gonna give you millions of dollars to make this movie. And then they're
Millions of dollars.
yeah, it's just, I mean, I think of Chloe Zhao. I think of who directed The Last Jedi? What was his name?
Which the last Jedi.
number 8.
Number-
That guy's a really good director. I forget his name.
Oh my god.
I
Is
think
that-
he directed Looper, I believe. I forget his name. Not Colin Trevorrow.
I wasn't a big fan of Looper.
It was Ryan Johnson.
Unrelated.
Ryan Johnson.
Yeah, he's done a lot. Actually.
So Ryan Johnson, he also directed the greatest episode of TV of all time, which is Felina in Breaking Bad.
Oh, the last one. Yeah.
That's not the last one. It's the one where Hank dies, which is considered the best episode of TV in history.
It's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Sorry for Hank, but pretty good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Hank.
What is the last episode now?
I don't know. Well, the last episode
So does Felina.
of Breaking Bad is the one where he dies. He has the minigun in the
Spoiler alert.
Oh shit. Yeah.
I mean, if you haven't gotten around to watch Breaking Bad yet, that's
You're right.
on you.
Yeah, Felina. Yes, it actually is one of. You're right now because
Yeah.
actually, Much Mojo does a lot of that stuff where they mention it was like one of the greatest episodes of all time, or probably the greatest TV episode of all time.
a lot of people say that it is.
Yeah, the last one was Hit and Run.
Yeah. Obviously, like whenever you say
Hit
the
and Run was
greatest blah of all time, obviously it's like a subjective thing, but I think it's noteworthy when multiple publications and multiple critics
Yeah.
all come to the same conclusion. Obviously, like it's subjective. To what extent can you objectively say that something's the greatest? You really can't. But in a subjective sense, in the sense of like the cinematic critical world writ at large, it's considered one of the best, if not the best.
Felina, blood,
Um,
meth, tears.
Yeah,
I like
and Ryan Johnston, Ryan Johnson has that under his belt, and he also has The Last Jedi under his belt, and
He has more. I know he has. I've seen it. His name.
yeah.
Yeah, Knives Out,
Oh yeah, he did
Glass
Knives Out.
Onion,
He did Knives Out.
Looper, Rogue One.
I really like Knives Out. He didn't do Rogue One. I don't think he did Rogue One. I think that was Colin. No, who was Rogue One?
Oh no, it's Gareth Edwards.
Gareth
He must have been a
Edwards.
producer for it.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, he was a producer for it. Disregard.
All right.
Brothers Bloom.
I think we should. Is there anything else on Leave No Trace that y'all want to touch on? Because I'm ready to just go around.
No, yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Okay. I'll start because I picked this flick. I'm giving this a 9.5. Like right out the bat. I don't know a single thing that's wrong with it. If I absolutely had to nitpick, I think there are a couple of transition shots that linger too long that may, if you want to present this type of argument, that may slow the movie down, quote unquote. I think some of the transition shots of like when they're in the bus or when they're on the tram or when they're walking from place to place, it's mostly I'm talking about in the city. Most of those shots, maybe they could have been cut, maybe, but that's such a nitpick that like I don't even know if that even counts. Like this movie doesn't make any mistakes. This movie has no mistakes. There's nothing in this movie. Maybe the drug dealer, the vet drug dealer guy, like he kind of like if anyone's acting is not up to snuff compared to everyone else in this movie, I'd say that guy is a little.
Was he buying drugs or selling the drugs?
No. Ben Foster's character
Was
was
selling.
selling his PTSD medication to that guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but that guy, I think that guy has the weakest lines and the weakest delivery out of everybody. And the thing is, it's not even that bad.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
yeah. But this movie just doesn't have a mistake in it. Cinematically, it doesn't have a mistake in it. Narratively, it doesn't have a mistake in it. In terms of acting, like this movie has no mistakes. It's it's really good. Yeah, I'm giving it 9.5.
I agree with you. I don't think I was bored the entire time watching this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was enthralled in knowing where their path was going to end up at the very end, until the very end, and yeah, I'm really glad that this movie was picked. It's definitely going to be like a recommendation that I give to other people. Yeah, I'd go ahead and say give it a 9. Yeah.
So I'm agree with you, M. How this movie actually has no issues whatsoever, because I think it was filmed in such a way where it didn't have any like it didn't have any of those scene to scene transitional issues whatsoever. Like you said, the one thing you had to nitpick was the transferring from in the cities in the bus. Like
Yeah, they're like
there's
couple
one girl
scenes where-
who got picked up out of the bus. You thought
Yeah,
right, and then oh, they're fine,
yeah,
because that really wasn't that big of a deal. It wasn't, and it didn't. Everything was spaced out properly, or at least it was like nut to butt, right next after another, right? It didn't leave any room for error.
yeah.
There was no possible way they could have messed up. That's what I
Yeah.
felt. So yeah. Other than that, the movie is great. I like the color. I like the color of everything. I love the
Very
green.
green.
Very green, and they're supposed to be. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Especially the area they're in. Of course, there's no avoiding it. But
I guess
You
if
know-
your favorite color wasn't green, this movie is not the movie for you.
This is not for green
there's
haters.
a lot of don't be hating on my green, all right? And yeah, no, I think I want to give this a 9 as well.
All right.
So if we're going for a specific burn flick,
Yeah, we're
level.
we're crunching the numbers right now.
9 plus 9.5 plus 9
Yeah.
divided by 30. We got a point. We got a little 9.1.
Let's just say it's a 9.
We'll
9
give it
out
a
of 10.
9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
That's this many.
Not 9 fingers up. Yes. All right.
If you're our friend Brecca, it's 9 3/4.
Yeah. So I believe the torch has been passed to you, Murph.
I finally have an idea for a movie. It's a movie I've seen. It's a movie that I bothered you about
Yes.
a while ago.
Okay, wait, which one?
It's the one I woke you up about, and I saw.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I was gonna say we should watch Hustle, but I think maybe if I just annoy you enough, you'll watch it.
I will watch it eventually. I promise.
I'm sure you will.
Yeah.
But I saw this movie. The movie, it's called Barbarian.
Mm-hmm.
Barbarian is actually directed by one of the cast members from Whitest Kids You Know, the IFC comedy like sketch show. You know, the
Okay.
Grapist, right? So Barbarian is really good because, let's see, I saw this trailer randomly because I was on my break at work, my lunch break, in my car looking at Facebook, reels, whatever.
Yeah.
And this came up, saying you should watch this movie, and I was looking at it, and it's it's one of those movies. It stops halfway through the trailer, so it brought me to YouTube to watch the trailer. So I finally watched the Red Band trailer of it.
Yeah.
Well, was it Red Band? Whatever. And I thought, wow, this looks really interesting. And I watched this movie on a whim one day. I just got up, went to the movie theaters and saw it. And I just didn't ask anybody. I apologize because I didn't know you
No,
wanted to
it's
see
fine,
it.
Yeah.
I'll watch it again if it's still out. Seriously. Because this movie is so good that I'm not saying anything at all.
Yeah.
It has you at the edge of your seat the entire time. And I'll leave it at that.
All right.
It's Barbarian. It is directed by Zach Kreger.
Where do we watch it?
You can watch it. You can watch it in movie theaters right now, or if you want,
Yeah.
if we'll watch it in movie theaters.
Okay.
Like it's probably it should still be out right now. Yeah, it's still playing at Regal right now, or at Lisbon, or
All right.
all the way out.
Is it how long is it gonna stay in theaters? Do you know, or
As,
is it on theaters and streaming, or is it just theaters?
It's so far is not streaming yet
All right.
because it's just came out like
Ah, that's tough.
September 9th.
Making it hard for us, making us work.
I know, but it's so good. I'm telling you.
Okay.
I don't know because it stars pretty much what you think it is. It stars Bill Skarsgård,
Okay.
right?
He's in a lot.
Huh? Yeah,
He's in a
he's
lot.
he's a lot. I mean, it's
Well, all the Skarsgårds.
I get them mixed up, dude.
Bill Skarsgård's the youngest of
Is
the
he the
famous
one that
ones.
played the It
It.
clown?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So this is actually from a producer,
Yeah.
per the trailer, from a producer of It.
Oh, is that literally what the trailer?
Is Barbarian a horror?
Barbarian is a horror mystery.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
It's
right.
it's good. It's good.
All right.
I'm sorry,
telling
Jonah.
you- I'm telling you right now, this movie is not. It's. I'll leave it at that. It's good.
It's okay. I'm on medicine for anxiety, so I should be okay.
I can change it to Hustle. We're gonna do that.
Oh,
instead.
it's good, man.
Oh man. Okay.
So all right. So next week it'll be
Yeah.
Barbarian by Zach Kreger,
Okay.
and we have given this movie Leave No Trace a 9 out of 10,
9 fingers.
or 9.1 to be exact, but
Yeah.
we'll do this.
All right. That is it. We'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.
I think.
Flick.